and all these on that option. Get the mask on my face like a catch. Don't call my phone unless you trying to cop. I'll pull up and serve you well.
Is the Ron Rivera and Marty Hurney era over? Yo! Welcome to LCameraTV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the show with things like Facebook and Reddit and Instagram and Rumble.com and wherever else. And guys, we got a lot to talk about, man. First of all, it's time to finally ask this question, man. Is it time to make a coaching and GM change? Definitely got to talk about that. A certain player just joined the Madden 99 club. Definitely got to talk about that. And where I think this team's direction should be. So we got a lot to talk about today, guys. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is Chrisitian McCaffrey joining the Madden 99 club. That is an amazing feat by an amazing player, and it's to be expected. Christian has been balling all season. Christian's on pace to break the all-time scrimmage record. Christian just passed, I think, with Damian Thompson in the most receiving receptions in like I think a 2-year span or something like that, whatever total or like whatever. He just did that. He's the 6th running back to join the Madden 99 club, or just in total, you know, being the 99 overall player on Madden as far as running back, and he's the 5th player to be 99 overall on this Madden. So Christian McCaffrey is balling out, like I said. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, he's leading the league in rushing with 1,059. And the guy behind him, which is Dalvin Cook, didn't even go on bye week yet. And Christian already went on his bye week. So once Dalvin goes on his bye week, he's going to extend that gap. So he's definitely probably going to win the rushing title. That's just being honest. And, you know what I'm saying, obviously we'll see receptions, but, you know, obviously he can catch out the backfield and he can get yardage. So Christian McCaffrey, I think he has 14 total touchdowns. He is an absolute baller. And this is well-deserved, man. There's nothing else I can say. Every team knows that Christian's going to get the ball. They try to scheme to stop Christian from getting the ball. And even if they stop the run, he gets in the pass. If they stop the pass, he gets in the run. So he's immaculate, you know what I'm saying? But obviously, my trepidation is this. Christian is balling out. And we all know this and we all expected this. We see how great Christian was, you know what I'm saying, progressing his first year to second year and now to this. We know Christian McCaffrey is great. But the problem is that I don't think he could sustain this level of greatness by himself. We need to surround him with players that are going to, you know, kind of alleviate some of that pressure on him. Because right now, he's having a historic season. But do you think he'll have historic seasons every year? That's unlikely. So get him a quarterback, you know what I'm saying, obviously, preferably Cam Newton in my opinion. But get him a quarterback, you know what I'm saying, so they won't hone in on just him, and they'll have to fear the pass also. Because with Kyle Allen, especially with that 4-interception game, ain't nobody worried about Kyle Allen anymore. They're worried about Christian McCaffrey and what he's going to do, and not what Kyle Allen is going to do in the passing game. That's just me being honest. So like I said, Christian, shout out to you, man. It's well-deserved. Obviously, it was a dope video seeing you get the Madden 99 and the poses that he was doing, which is pretty cool. And the thing I love, too, is the reactions from the other players. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was happy for him. Everybody was excited. It was really cool. So shout out to Christian McCaffrey, and this is well-deserved, man. And I might just buy Madden just to play with Christian. Be honest with y'all, I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about, you know, maybe starting a Madden tournament, whatever, for everybody on PS4. But I might get it, man. Just because Christian McCaffrey, man, I might get the game. That's just me being honest. And the second thing I want to talk about is Ron Rivera and Marty Hurney's time in Carolina over. And it's sad to say, but I think it is. I think Ron Rivera was on thin ice before the season was coming in. You know, obviously, David Tepper didn't hire his guys, which is, you know, his head coach and his GM. Didn't hire him, right? Ron Rivera and Marty Hurney was there from the previous regime, which is Jerry Richardson. And mind you, Marty Hurney got fired before and got reinstated. So that's that situation. Now, me personally, I like Ron Rivera. But Ron Rivera has some key issues. Ron Rivera, one, is bad at making just game-clinching or late-game decisions. Obviously, they try to help him with that. And they, I think, added a position where this guy helps him make a decision at the end of the game. You can't have your head coach doing that. That's just being honest. Ron Rivera, obviously, you know, has been up and down his whole time as a Carolina Panthers coach. I don't think we had 2 consecutive winning seasons or whatever, or something like that. Basically, David Tepper said he's tired of mediocrity. And Carolina Panthers have been up, down since he's been there. You know what I'm saying? And is that his fault? Not necessarily, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? As a head coach, you take that responsibility. Marty Hurney, like I said, has been fired the first time, and then the second time around, he's not been doing a great job either. He's done some splash moves, I guess, but they never really lived up to the billing. You know, obviously getting Jerry McCoy has been good, but he hasn't been, a game changer like that. Drafting DJ Moore has been good, but like I said, he has not been a game changer. There's certain things that he's done overall. Obviously getting the O-line, Matt Paradis, people have mixed reviews on him. We signed Darrell Williams to a 1-year deal. Darrell Williams obviously looks like he can't play tackle anymore. Basically he has to be a guard now, to be honest with you, because he can't shift his feet fast enough. There's that situation. Not going out and getting a bona fide receiver or reinforcing your O-line, for the Carolina Panthers. There's a lot of things that the previous regime, which is Ron Rivera, David Gettleman, Marty Hurney, all three of them technically, because obviously those were both the GMs while Ron Rivera was there. They never really protected Cam. They never really got Cam bona fide receivers. They worried more about the defense and the offense. And even now, this year, the defense has been looking very leaky as far as run defense. The sacks and the turnovers that we was getting in the beginning of the season does not look like we're keeping that pace up. So definitely the defense, and mind you, he went to a 3-4 defense from a 4-3 defense because he wanted to, change it up and fortify the defense and have more sacks and all stuff like that. And mind you, our sack total definitely went up, but our defense, our rush defense, definitely went back down. And all these teams are running all over us, and that's not a good thing. Our secondary is up and down also. In the beginning of the season, everybody was getting interceptions. Now we're getting burned by Julio Jones, and Like, it's just the inconsistencies in the defense. And mind you, as a defensive coordinator or defensive head coach in Ron Rivera, that's what you hang your hat on, especially because you took the play calling rights from Eric Washington, who had a bad defense last year, and he was like, I'm gonna take over the play calling because he's not doing well, and you're not doing well. So it's like, is it Eric Washington or is it just the whole coaching staff? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously I thought our defense would be much improved from Eric Washington and Ron Rivera, but the same situation going on, and maybe it's because teams run, like, when you hear the same speeches and stuff like whatever, sometimes it falls on deaf ears, especially when the coach has been there for that long. That's part of the situation in this situation. So I think it might be time for the change. Marty Hurney, I wasn't sold on him from the very beginning. He definitely made some splash plays that I commended, and I was like, maybe I was wrong. But after seeing how those plays planned out in the season, they haven't panned out. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, I think it's time to make a coaching and GM change. I love me some Ron Rivera. I do. I think Ron Rivera is a great coach, but I think his time has ran out. I think his stuff he says is starting to fall on deaf ears. And like I said, it's not fair that his starting quarterback has been injured the last 2 years, and this is the narrative. But at the end of the day, you're the head coach. You control the team. That's like, look at Mike Tomlin. The Steelers lost their starting quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, and it was pretty bad in the beginning, and then they got right. You know what I'm saying? And they've been winning games and been, he basically turned the whole thing around. Ron Rivera has been doing that also with the beginning of Kyle Allen's 4-game win streak, whatever it was. But then since the bye week, they've been atrocious. Kyle Allen threw 9 interceptions. The defense is not getting turnovers. It's barely getting sacks. It's just been a bad situation. So I think Ron Rivera, this is going to be his last year. It's sad to see him go because, like I said, he's the most winningest head coach in Panthers history. 1, 2, he changed the culture, man. Like, he made our culture 10 times better. And I think he's a really good head coach. But I think David Tepper wants to bring in his own guys, and I think it's time to make that change. Now, what does this mean for the Carolina Panthers' future? Me personally, man, I have some candidates that I think the Panthers should definitely. Well, my ideal coaching situation, right? I think North Turner should be gone too. Obviously, I didn't get to get into that, but I definitely think North Turner should be gone. I don't think he's lived up to the billing as far as offensive coordinator, making his offense amazing. Kyle Allen supposedly fit his offense better, and now he's throwing 9 interceptions. Whatever, not neither here nor there in that situation. But now check this out. My thing is, I think the head coach we should get is Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh had success in the NFL. Obviously, took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Coach Colin Kaepernick, obviously he knows how to coach running, scrambling quarterback. He had a dominant run game, and he had a very good defense. So definitely a defensive-minded head coach too. I think our GM should be Ed Dobbs. Ed Dobbs, if you don't know who he is, because obviously a lot of times you don't know who the GM candidates are and stuff like that. Ed Dobbs was a scout, I think, for the Seahawks, whatever. When they had the Legion Boom, he scouted all those players in the 3rd, 4th round that became ballers. Then he went over to the Colts and became, I think, the assistant GM over there and helped draft Quentin Nelson and all those guys, rebuild the whole line, build a great defense. The reason why he hasn't become a GM already is because supposedly he doesn't like the limelight. That's just not his thing. He doesn't really care for the limelight at all. And that's why, you know, he hasn't become a GM already. But I definitely think the Panthers should be on the phone with him because he seems like he knows how to draft a team and build a team around the player. Or just build a good team in general. That's what matters. You know what I'm saying? When the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl, it's because of a lot of the late draft picks, the Cam Chancellors, the Richard Sherman, all those guys. And same thing with the Colts, man. It's not just the top draft picks that he's, you know, knocking out the park, but it's the lower guys also that people think, oh, he's not gonna be that good, and they turn out to be ballers. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think he should be our top GM candidate. If he doesn't want to be a GM, because like I said, he doesn't really like the spotlight of that whole situation. Maybe we should go with Joe Douglas. He's the assistant GM for Howie Roseman for the Eagles. Obviously, Howie Roseman makes splash plays. He trades for people. He does, you know, what needs to be done, and he drafts well. So this guy coming up under him, I think he could be a GM. Obviously, he was a pretty good scout also. And maybe you can get, if you can get him, Joe Douglas, plus Ed Dobbs from the Colts and make him assistant GM again, why not? I would rather Ed Dobbs be our GM in general, but if he doesn't want to be a GM, he still want to be assistant, bring him over, you know what I'm saying, make him assistant GM, whatever, and have Joe Douglas to be the head GM. And I think they'll draft a great team. I think Jim Harbaugh will create a culture, you know what I'm saying, in that Carolina Panthers locker room that would be great for us, you know what I'm saying, especially because his situation in Michigan doesn't look like it's panning out that well. I think Jim Harbaugh is the #1 candidate for us, you know what I'm saying, because obviously he's the defensive-minded head coach, but he does not slack on the offense, you know what I'm saying. And I would love to have, you know, if I could pick my offensive coordinator, somebody from West Coast style, somebody who you know, throws the ball. I would love to have maybe the offensive coordinator from Kyle Shanahan's system, but Kyle Shanahan, I don't think he has an offensive coordinator. But I love his zone blocking scheme. I love how, you know, they're so vertical with their offense and everything like that. So that's just me personally. That's why I think the future holds for the Carolina Panthers. I think those are the head coach and GM candidates they should go after immediately. And I think Cam Newton should still, you know, be on contract, you know, be under contract for that 1 year or whatever. And I think if you get the right pieces around him, he'll look like the old 2015 Cam Newton and ultimately get another contract. And then you will have an MVP winning quarterback and an MVP candidate running back with, you know, guys who are going to make trades and do splash plays and basically, you know, change the culture in that locker room to a defensive team, but that has a good offense. Under Ron Rivera, we never really had a great offense besides the 1 year we went to the Super Bowl, and that was, you know, kind of an anomaly. You can't give him credit for that in that sense because he never recreated that. Mike Shanahan, what's his name? Don Shula's son, I can't remember his name. Mike Shula. He never really lived up to that at all. So I don't know, man. That's my coaching tree. That's how my coaching situation will pan out, whatever. And hopefully, if we get that, I think Carolina Panthers would rebuild really quickly and be back into the playoff Super Bowl hunt. Well, that's it for me, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share cool things like Facebook and Reddit and Instagram, rumble.com and Twitter and wherever else. And guys, get in the comment section, man. Do you think the Ron Rivera, Marty Hurney era is over? Let me know in that comment section below. And who do you think will be a good head coach GM combo for the Carolina Panthers if their era is over? Put that in the comment section below. Check out the Spreadshirt account, check out the Patreon page, check out the NFL affiliate link. All 3 of those are in the description below. Definitely check those out, man. Cop some Panther gear. I see y'all clicking. I see y'all copping the gear, man. Shout out to everybody who copped some gear, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all, whatever, for obviously using the link. Share with all the Panther fans. You might Panther related, by football related. Let them know LCameraTV is rocking Panther Nation. Panther Nation rocking LCameraTV. Check out my dog Renan Steen's channel. Very funny dude, very talented, and his channel is growing. Definitely check him out. We got a podcast together that people are liking, man. So definitely check that out, man. We talk about some real interesting topics. So definitely check that out. Like I said, share with y'all cool things, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.